So I started, my older brother was the filmmaker of our household. So we had one of those high 8 cameras where the cassette was like this fucking big.
Yeah.
And he would tape things and I was the guinea pig.
How old were you?
Oh geez, 5, 6, something
cool.
like that. So like whenever Chris would pull the camera out, I'd have to act in one of his dumb projects and all that. So we'd go down to the park and do like the Billy Goat's Gruff, and I'd be the goat going across like the little playground, and I have to knock somebody off. And then he started getting clever, and he started this series called Keep Out of My House 2000, where it was a security system he made to keep his little brother out of his bedroom. And I was the little brother, so I was getting shot in the ass with darts. And
it was like booby traps.
Yeah, it was like Home Alone.
Oh, cool.
So that's where it started.
That's where the passion started.
And then
one day you were a goat, and you're like, I could do this.
I'm totally a goat. I was very horny.
And a Capricorn.
And a Capricorn. That's
Shit.
you remembered. That's you.
Okay.
And a tulip. No, but then, I acted out a lot in school. I was like a class clown. And when I found the stage, I was like, oh my God, this is perfect for me. Like I get to do all the things I do in class and at home, but I get to do it in front of people who actually want to come watch me and not just me pissing them off. Sometimes. So I started out in theater.
So there's high school plays, or did you do like outside theater productions?
I was too afraid to do high school plays because I was kind of in like the stoner jock crowd.
Okay.
And it finally came out my senior year that I was like a secret theater nerd. So I was doing Little Shop of Horrors, and I was the dentist. And that's when pretty much my entire senior class found out. And they were like, what, Gormley's a theater person?
Oh, he's sensitive
and
has an artistic soul?
And he's talented. So they all came, and it was great, you know? And it was like, all right, I always knew this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I had to do it like in secrecy. It's weird, it's like adolescent stuff.
Yeah, I mean, even now I'm kind of scared of putting myself out there. Like, hey, everyone, this is me.
Yeah, that's the Hollywood thing. It's almost too cliche to tell people you're an actor.
Yeah. So was it in high school that you realized, okay, I'm going to move to LA? Or were you just going to do it in your area?
I always knew I was going to come to LA eventually. Because, Chris and I, my brother, that's what we did. We made movies. And, we would make movies for our projects in class and stuff. And it was like, man, this is fun. And this is what I'm good at.
Yeah.
I had other areas I could have gone to. I could have gone and played hockey at one point in college, but it was like this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I want to go to Hollywood and give it a shot, give it a stab.
Yeah. So. But you went to college. Did you go for acting or for something else?
So I wanted to go to school at Rutgers. They have the Mason Gross School of Acting, which is like one of the greatest acting schools in America. There's something like 90% of the people who graduate from it go on to do television, go on to do film in some shape, way, or form. And my grades didn't get me in. My audition did, but my grades didn't. So my other option was Tampa. And it was like a total party school, and I was like, yep, I want to go there. There's some like hot girls there. Like the campus is like a country club. But they had a really good film department. Acting as a major, it was only musical theater, and that really never was my bag.
Yeah.
So I was able to major in film and minor in acting down there, and it was great. Yeah.
Awesome. And then right afterwards, you're like, LA.
Yeah. When I went there, I started the film stuff. I really enjoyed doing, and acting is not a job for a lot of people. It's just you can't make money off of it. It's just not a plausible. Well, you can, but it's not like a plausible thing. You have to have a job, and having something in film, I always thought was the smartest route to take. So I would sit all day in an editing lab and edit my movies and all that, and then at night I'd go on this giant theater. And I'd be Valentine and Two Gentlemen of Verona. It was like the perfect little balance. So it was like, I'm not going to New York. I'm sick of the cold.
Yeah.
Chicago, the improv scene wasn't my thing yet. And I was like, we got to go to Hollywood. That's what you do.
Yeah. It's just easier. It's so much opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you were taking the classes for filmmaking, did that make you want to pursue any of that, like any writing or?
Yeah, and I did. I got to write a short story which turned into a feature length, which it got voted by my 300 level class where I was actually allowed to go out and film it. So, I mean, I filmed a feature length. I still have it in a canister. I have like the whole
really?
full film reel if I can find a projector.
That would be a cool movie night.
I haven't seen it in 20 years. So, and the sound's all messed up on it. So we always talked about going back and redubbing it in Spanish and like selling it to Telemundo or something like that. But no, I mean, yeah, it was like I really enjoy doing both of these. So when I moved out here, I started working in the art department on a couple shows. I was working as a production assistant on Will and Grace. I worked on Untold Stories of the ER, and then one day I was offered a job to work on this new show. It was Billy Ray Cyrus's daughter, and she was doing this new show called Hannah Montana, and they were like, "Would you be interested in coming in and being our lead man in the art department?" And I had to think about it.
Yeah.
Because you're talking 14 to 16-hour work days, 8 days a week. You know, it was a fun job to have. It was cool getting to work on all the different studio lots and all that. But as a young guy coming out of college, I had no friends. I had no life.
Yeah.
The money was okay, but it wasn't anything to brag about. So I asked them, give me 24 hours. And I made up my mind. I said, you know what? I did come out here to act. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna sign up for a class, and the next day I walked into the Olive Garden and I got a serving job. So, and the rest was history.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's if you spread out what you're doing to too many things, you can get distracted.
Jack of all trades, master of none. Yep, it's true.
Yeah. So when you first started to pursue the acting more so, how'd you even know where to start? Did they even cover that in school, or were you just like
no
looking it up, asking people?
No, I mean nobody tells you. Nobody tells you shit out
because
here.
it's like, oh, you're gonna take my job, so he's like, I can't let you get ahead of me.
Well, not only that. I mean, this was back in the early 2000s. Like, there's we talk about that like it's the 80s. There's the landscape has changed so much. So back then, the idea was like, okay, you got to get into a class, you have to start doing background work, and you have to get your SAG vouchers. Yeah. Because that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. And then you go out and you find an agent and a manager, and you start doing commercial work, and that's all I knew. So I ended up getting into a class where I was able to make some good networking and industry connections and all that, and that's where it started. It was like, all right, baby steps. You just got to get your pinky in the cold water, and then you move the whole body. So
so how did you go about getting your first agent? Because I remember for me that was just a struggle.
I have an interesting story.
Oh, dang.
I have a story that's not common. I very much wanted to be like an artist when I came out here. Foolish me. Yeah. So I did a lot of plays because that's where, and LA's just not a place for that. There's not a very huge theater scene out here. Yeah. And I started doing a lot of plays at some small local theaters around Hollywood, but I would get into it. So I had to play like a skinhead speed addict. And I shaved my head, and I had a mohawk, and I had this big epic scene where I got really mad. So I would punch a wall in the theater, and I'd break my hand, really break it.
Okay, you broke your hand?
A couple times, because then the next week I'd use this hand, because this was the one that was better, and then when this one healed up, I'd do it, and I would get into these roles. I mean, I was going for it.
You're like, I'm here. Doing it.
I'm gonna Daniel Day-Lewis this shit, and there's 4 people in the audience, of course. Yeah. But I was doing a show like that with that kind of mindset, and on my last show, I was getting ready to leave the theater, and there was a woman there, and she's just like, "I'm a manager. I'm not leaving here until I sign you," and it was really local LA theater, 4 people in the audience. She's like, "Yeah." So she had some connections with an agency, and that's how I got my first agent. It was just by doing good work. Yeah.
And then people notice it, and they want to work with you because they see something in you.
I guess. Yeah.
Are you still with her?
My manager?
Yeah, manager?
My manager, yes. My agent, no. I've moved on from her.
Oh, great. So as far as, How do you like having a manager versus having an agent? What are the differences in your relationships with them?
What the difference between them is about 5%. With the relationships, I've been with my manager for quite a while, so we understand one another very well. They're a little bit more personable.
Yeah.
An agent's great to have. My thoughts are it's better to have than to have not. Do you need both? Not necessarily. If you're worried about 15% or 10%, then then pick one or the other. But it's better to have than to have not. To have two teams working for you
to open doors
all the time, it's going to help you more than it's going to hurt you. So
Yeah. Anything on your mind yet?
I'm
an open book, man.
Yeah, now I was thinking about I guess when you got your, is there a moment when you got like a first, not break, but I guess
Yeah. So
change the momentum of
100%. I got this agent maybe like 2 years into being in LA, and I ended up booking like one of my first auditions, like right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And it was a K-Swiss commercial where I was a guy riding like a little baby tricycle in a race and all of that. And the fact that I was able to book that so quickly, for them, they were like, okay, there's something with this guy. And then I went out and I got callbacks, and I was on Avail for like 2 other commercials, and then they sent me out for 1,000 Ways to Die. And I booked it, like, right off the bat. So, nice. Chunka Burning Love, I'm the dude having sex who throws up on the girl.
His break.
It was my break, and I remember calling my parents and they're like, Mom, Dad, I'm going to be on TV tonight.
Yeah.
I'm having sex and blowing chunks on this chick. And they're like, oh, we're so proud. But, I mean, that was that. I was able to really bypass having to do a lot of commercial work to get a theatrical agent.
Yeah.
And they signed me right across the board.
That's awesome.
And from there on, I started booking a lot of stuff. I booked like The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. And I was doing a sketch on that, and it was like, okay, this is cool. Like,
yeah.
So, yeah.
Was it pretty easy for you to get your SAG waiver or vouchers?
I played the system a little bit. Am I allowed to say this?
Yeah,
how I did this on here?
Tell us. We need to know so that we can do it too.
If you go onto LA Casting or Actors Access, there's something called SAG New Media Contracts. It's like you do basically a web series, and as long as the producers or the director, they fill out like a stack of paperwork, if one person on it is in SAG, it automatically Taft-Hartleys everybody else in it. So
yeah. I think they just changed the rule. They made it more difficult.
Did they close the loophole?
Yeah, 2018. I think there has to be like a limit on budget, or like a minimum budget for the project for you to do that.
That sounds about right. Yeah. But that's how one of my friends figured this loophole out, and all of us were like, let's go.
Yeah.
There's only so much time until this is going to close. And that's pretty much how me and a lot of my friends were able to get in. Didn't have to do this background bullshit.
Yeah, because I was talking to Brandon, he said how he got all of his waivers, he just went and did extra stuff. It's like, I don't know if I want to.
I mean, you can, but it's a crapshoot. There's no guarantee you're going to get these waivers. And background work, if you are a real actor and you're worth your salt, and you have talent, being in the background and watching other people work is one of the hardest things you can possibly do.
Yeah.
It's just, it hurts you. It physically hurts you to be like, man, I should be doing that.
Yeah, or at least be auditioning for these roles instead of
Correct.
here every day
Correct.
trying to get these vouchers that they even invite me in.
Yeah. I did like one extra role on like the OC, which was pretty funny because it opens up and I'm like, with my backpack and my gun. Yeah. Talking to I'm like, hey, how old are you guys? They're like, we're 17. I'm like, fuck, I'm 27.
But hey, as long as you play young, I feel like half the people nowadays playing teenagers are 30.
Moisturize.
Oh my god, sunscreen. Okay, so do you think, because what I heard is the warning, don't join the union too soon. Is there anything to that?
Yeah.
Because you're like, I ran for that loophole, but now look
there's a lot of merit to that. So, unfortunately, like I said, the landscape of the game out here has changed drastically. You never had A-list actors doing commercials. That was taboo. Now you got Morgan Freeman and what's her face?
Jennifer
Gardner.
Like credit card commercials.
Doing everything. And it's like, so they're taking up all the gigs. Unfortunately, these commercials that are being made, the producers, the clients, they don't want to go union for these. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
There's a big SAG has this big thing where we're going to be voting on.
I think I was reading about that.
New contracts and all that. It's a very big deal. And fortunately, I was able to hold off pretty long before I had to join. But then I was my next agent from my first one. They were a SAG franchise company, and if I didn't join, they were going to drop me. So I had to join.
That's good though, because they're the ones who are making the union stronger. Technically, even though the companies aren't going union, if all the actors become union, then they're not going to have any actors. In theory, right? Wouldn't that be the
rephrase
or
that.
no, like the companies don't want to pay the union amount, so they do non-union. They hire non-union actors.
Quite a bit.
But if every actor just says no, you pay the union amount, then everyone will be paid more.
Yes, in
theory.
In theory, but the problem is that there's always going to be somebody willing to do the work for less money.
Yeah.
And that's another problem, is that people are willing to take credits at a discounted rate for the sake of being able to have credits, because that's the problem with SAG. You can't work unless you have credits, but you can't get credits unless you have credits.
Yeah.
It's
hard.
Unless you have just some raw talent. And it happens every day, but it's not common. Yeah.
So how do you think someone can make themselves stick out? Anything? Or like, how can one make oneself noticeable?
You need to. There's the correct answer, and then there's like the real answer. So
Let's go correct and then real.
The correct answer is that we're all a brand, and you've really got to lock your brand down. I mean, like there was no social media before. You need to have followers now. You have to be very specific with who you are, what you're capable of. You can't just be like, I'm an actor who does it all. Like I do comedy and drama. Okay, well yes you do, but what are you the best at? And then really lock into that. You need to make your brand strong. You need to make your brand powerful. You need to be one of a kind, the kind of person that there is nobody else who can play this role but me, because I am my own category.
Yeah.
You know, the real answer is, who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. It's luck.
You just have to get ready for the opportunity and hope. You hope.
That's what luck is.
Yeah.
It's when preparation meets timing, and that's what you have to have. You have to be ready when it comes knocking, and just network. You know.
So, what's the best networking way? Just kind of going out and meeting people, or like how do you even keep in contact with everyone?
Yeah, you just do.
It's effort.
You just do. You go out. I mean, it's exhausting, but you have to do these mixers. You have to, when you're on set, talk to people.
Yeah. Your agent Christmas party.
You know what I mean? Your agent Christmas party. Go to that and talk to people. Classes. The first real gig I ever had in LA. This is fucking embarrassing. I was in a class. And one of the women in my class taught at Sacred Heart Academy for Girls. She was the dance teacher. There was like an all-girls Catholic high school. And she's like, hey, John, like, we have this play coming up. We really need people to, like, we need men. And I'm like, wait, it's an all-girls Catholic high school? Yeah, you can get whatever role you want. I'm like, no, there's no fucking way. And she's like, well, we'll pay you $1,000 for 2 nights. I'm like, any role I want? So I ended up doing it, and Gary Lucchese's daughter was in it. He was kind of a big head at a studio back in the day, and I made a lot of connections doing an all-girls Catholic school play.
You just have to say yes to opportunities.
Not all opportunities, but I mean, you know, if the juice is worth the squeeze, do it.
Is that kind of why you also branched out into like voice acting? Because I know you have a very distinct voice.
No shit.
So it seems like a very obvious like way for you.
Yeah, with that, I was on backstage and I saw this talent agency that was like, you know, we want to bring in some new talent.
And you're like, hey, why not?
I don't have a microphone, so I'm screaming into my laptop. And I think they take anybody.
Yeah.
But what would happen is I went out and I bought a mic. And just, I never took classes. Just through the sheer work of doing that many auditions, I was able to polish my technique. But I mean, why not? If you can do it all, do it all. You know?
You should tell about. Don't you still have a voice booth you built in your house?
Like a little portable one. Yeah, I just
How do you
took like
build
a,
it?
you take like a little, one of those little like containers, like the plastic containers, and I just got some bedding and I cut it out and you flip it up and the bedding is all taped in there and you just put your mic in.
Boom.
It's not incredible or
I know.
anything.
It's kind of like my studio.
But I'm finding that even now, like just using your iPhone in a quiet space has a better mic than half these mics. So
Oh, yeah.
it's, yeah.
I mean, my brother, he makes music and he just sings in does his sound into his phone in his car.
GarageBand, voice notes, you can fix it all up in post. So
Yeah. So what made you start taking improv classes recently?
improv classes with like 80% of the auditions that you actually go in for, even the auditioning games change. It's all self-submits.
Yeah.
You rarely are ever in a room, which kind of stinks. It really takes. You have more time to perfect it and make it look exactly how you want it, but you're losing
that personal connection you can make with someone.
even
like
just the
charm.
chemistry. The charm, and just being able to be like, hi, blah, 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 me, you know. And,
Like that moment before you go on the camera and where you're like kind of jiving with them.
Yeah, I've always been taught to book the room, not the role. And it's hard to do that when you can't talk to people there. So, your audition has to be fantastic, but when you are in a room, I've noticed that a lot of the times the scene will end and then they'll be like, okay, now just improv a scene. And I suck at improv.
Really?
Yeah, well, I took Meisner, which essentially kind of is the thing, but it's not. And it's like, give me a script and I'll riff on that shit for days.
Yeah.
Put me in an improv situation, I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. So I was like, and not only that, it looks great on your resume. A lot of these people rely on this kind of person, that kind of person. I just got a very big audition that I got a call back for and I was on a veil for. Unfortunately, I got released. But I did that just on the merit that I was taking UCB classes.
Really?
Yep.
Dang.
And it's common. You can't become the CEO if you don't put in work in the mailroom. It's part of your craft. You
Especially
have to do
because
it.
everyone's doing it. So it's like, oh, everyone's doing it. So, you kind of have to pad your resume more too. It's like
I
you
agree.
stay up with everyone.
I agree. I mean, like they're always going to go with somebody who has done it over somebody who has not done it if it's a comedic role. It's just what they want.
Yeah. And especially, I feel like a lot of the people who are writing TV shows and acting in TV shows now all went through there. And they're probably all getting each other jobs. Like, I'm recognizing on screen a lot of faces I saw performing years ago.
It's true.
At the theater.
Yeah. Again, it goes back to what I was saying with an agent and a manager. It's better to have than to have not.
Yeah.
So.
I thought you was like always in the improv and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just on like working with people and stuff, because you be on point and you come up with stuff off the fly.
It's different though. It's always been different when a camera's rolling. Because when a camera's rolling, you already have the job.
Right.
So you have that freedom to do that kind of stuff. But like in an audition room, it's a little jarring.
It is.
You know?
So the improv class for free for that. That's what it.
Essentially, I mean, the way I see it is that it helps with character development and really helps with auditions. Like you can riff off people and stuff like that, and that's what it's all about. It's two different entities. Being on camera is one thing. Being an audition is a whole different entity, and like you have to be ready to do it.
So after being acting in LA for the last couple of years, have you had any desire to produce your own projects or to
Shit, I did that. I went down that road.
What was that? Doesn't sound like a good road.
No, I'll never do that again. So in that acting class, I had a couple of buddies in there, and we had Robert Duncan. He's a great director. He's a television actor. He's been in a lot of stuff. He taught our acting for the camera class. And we were like, you know what? We wrote a movie in a week. We shot it, edited it, and we had it in festivals in 2 weeks. And we're like, we can do this. This is something that we can absolutely do. Everybody write a script. So I wrote one, and of course, nobody wanted to continue doing it. So we ended up developing it, and we wrote this movie called Hooray for Hollywood. It's on Funny or Die. It was in the Funny or Die Film Festival. It was the most viewed movie If you won, you got to make like a short with like Adam McKay and Will Ferrell. Somehow we didn't win through some like bullshit reason.
Yeah. Politics.
Yeah, and I wrote it, I acted in it, I had to run like our second unit cameras, and I produced it, and I will never do that again. I mean,
Really?
I dropped money I didn't have, I was pulling my hair out trying to wrangle actors and do lunch and all that, and then I had to like get in front of the camera and act, and as soon as we hit cut, I have to go over here and start painting this wall of this set because we got to shoot here in 20 minutes. And I was like, man, fuck this.
I feel like it could have been better if you had just spread out the workload among people.
Yeah, and in theory, that's how it should work. But if
Yeah.
you're producing, you have to, it's not just about money, especially
Yeah.
if you want to make the movie that you want to make.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll never do that again. I'll be the little, I'll be your little acting monkey with the cymbals and the top hat. I'm not doing this other shit.
Yeah, not for now, but like I feel like there'll be a point where it's like I'm more successful, or in terms of money, I have a little bit more, and I can ensure it's
If I can make money, yeah.
So I'm assuming, much like every other actor who's ever had to act ever, that you had to do a bunch of shitty student films. That's just the process. But like, what point do you stop doing student films? So I guess we should talk about how it's a rite of passage. But it's like, when do you know to take the step forward?
I think that, and this was student films, short films, stuff like that. They are important. They're still important. If the material is good, the material's good, because with that you have an opportunity to. Put it this way, when I went to film school, I was told that you might never be behind a camera again. So in my video production 101 class, I took the syllabus and I threw it out. And I made my own fucking movies.
Really?
I got a D, but the teacher was like, I respect you for doing what you did because you did it. I'm gonna pass you, and you got to make the movies you wanted to. You didn't make the movies we asked you for, and it was a little weird, but you did what you wanted to do, and I would never trade that.
Yeah, that's good, because that's the kind of thing that gets you, that this makes you stand out. No one wants
Correct.
to see that 5-minute, and now you have to do this shot and this shot to prove what they
Correct.
No one gives a fuck.
In my movies, I was using practical effects that were well beyond the people in my class. I mean, because my brother taught me all that shit.
Yeah.
But even with doing student films, it's kind of the same thing. You have freedom to do some really cool stuff in there. Stuff that you will not be hired to do in a professional film.
Yeah.
You can do sci-fi, you can do war movies. I'm like one of those like dudes outside the car dealerships. I'm lanky, I'm a noodle. But I got to play like a soldier. I got to like shave my head and run into battle and have shit exploding all around me. So.
And that's the acting experience everyone wants.
Correct. Correct.
I'm going to put on every hat, and only student films will let you do that.
There's a lot of merit to doing student films. Not only that, you have something called career students out here. Well, they'll just take acting classes until the day they die. The best experience you'll ever get is actually being on a set and doing it. And student films you cannot knock them. Any way or any way you look at it, you can't knock them because they're learning and you're learning as well.
Yeah.
But it starts getting tough when you get on set and you realize you know more than anybody else on set. When you're an actor and you're opening barn doors and stuff like that, and you are adjusting lights and you have to remind them sound. Is speed? Are we rolling? Guys, what's going on? It's little things like that. When nobody's keeping up with continuity, you have to start directing the crew. It's when it gets tough because you should be able to learn something on set every time you're on there. If you're not learning anything on set, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not getting paid. Money's not everything. Getting paid is a perk out here.
Yeah.
But it's not altogether a guarantee. So if you're not learning anything, then you are wasting your time.
Though I think, they're valuable for the short films are valuable because the people you meet can be people who eventually are the ones creating all the new things.
Yeah,
or you find people you want to work with.
In theory, yes. In theory, yes. I've never met anybody who's like really gone on to do something amazing, but there's been multiple times, and by amazing I mean they haven't gone on to like
Marvel films.
they haven't not yet.
Nate?
You jerk. Sure. But they haven't put anything in like Cannes yet or anything like that, and it's
or like the next level.
They haven't become like the new Spielberg yet. But I have been able to work with some of these people. I take that back. I did meet a bunch of guys, and right now I directly contradict what I just said. One of their short films are going to Cannes right now, and
wow.
and it's like yes, you do meet people. I take that back.
Yeah. I mean,
just edit that. So when I take a deep breath,
everyone you meet here is shitty.
And then it just cuts to yeah.
All relationships here are valueless, and isolate yourself.
Yeah,
isolate
fuck all
yourself.
you guys.
Yeah, do podcasts.
No, but I mean, like there is a shit ton of merit in it. You need to build your resume. You need to build your reel. You don't have any legitimate work. And what legitimate work is film and television. It's real stuff.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know why that's only considered legitimate, but that's what you need. If you can't, if you don't have it, then find it somewhere else.
You know what's really frustrating is like I'm still trying to get my first like TV co-star or like my first like anything. It's like how like I guess you just need the better pictures and the better reel, and you have to keep updating it so that they even bring you in the room, and I hope you're the one for the...
Well, you got to realize you've come into the hardest business in the world. Nothing is guaranteed. We are in LA. This is like the fucking Super Bowl of acting out here. It's the best of the best. College football and the transition into professional football is a great analogy. You could be the best player in your high school, and then all the best players in your high school in Texas, and of all of those guys, half of them go to college, and you could be Johnny Manziel, you can be some like huge star athlete, and then you get to the NFL and you can't cut it because you're no longer playing with guys who are like at a high school level. They're now college is all the best of the best from high school, but now the NFL is all the best of the best from all the colleges. So like you are going up against people who've done this longer than you, who have more skill than you, more connections than you. It's a fucking crapshoot. It doesn't mean it's impossible.
Yeah.
But every day that you aren't doing something to get the job, somebody else is.
Yeah.
So, just my advice would be just keep working.
So what do you think about the people who go to like different markets to try to get their first roles?
Brilliant. I think they're brilliant. I got a friend out here I've worked on.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing.
I got a friend out here who I've worked on a bunch of projects with him.
Thank you, sir.
My lady.
Good sir.
And here, why not?
Just because you're more drunk than me doesn't mean.
Is it 1:00 in the afternoon yet?
Is it yet? Who knows?
We don't get drunk here.
You don't tell what time of day it is.
Yeah, sure. It's after 6 somewhere.
Cheers. So this asshole who you're talking about.
So this guy.
He could be really nice.
He found like a mild level of success out here, and then he was smart. He went to Atlanta, and now he's killing it.
Really?
He's been on Netflix. He was on Atlanta.
Damn it.
And he's starting to do it. I've got another really dear friend of mine. She's a producer or a coordinator. I can't quite remember what her job is. She worked on the Vampire Diaries. All production's moving out there.
Yeah.
LA's got to get their shit together and start bringing down the cost of making film out here so we can bring work back here. But I mean, everybody who goes to Atlanta seems to be doing great.
They seem to be on Netflix.
Yep. It's true.
Damn it.
It's true.
Would you ever move? Or is it... Because I really like it here.
No.
No? Yeah, I really like LA. And
New York, it's not my scene.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm from Philly, and it's like, go Birds, go Sixers, woo!
Football.
Foosballs.
Foosballs.
I'm tired of the Northeast vibe. What I've talked about is my girlfriend and I have talked about maybe going to Georgia for about a month. And sowing some seeds there, like planting some roots, maybe getting an
connections.
agent out there, you know,
Yeah.
and just having that.
The thing I'm thinking too is so many of my LA auditions here are just self-tapes. So
Correct.
if I had, but then you can't guarantee that if I got an Atlanta agent, they would only be self-tapes, and I can't just fly there, you know? So unless you tell
I'm
them you're out of
sure there
town.
would be some sort of, I mean,
Thing you can work
where
around.
you can work around, where it's like my agent's coming from LA, or my client's coming from LA. Let them send you a self-tape, and if they like it, then they'll ask you to come in person, and then you have
Yeah.
to. It's just, again, if you don't do it, somebody else will.
Yeah. It's good stuff to do. Oh, you know what's funny? Actually, Vasily, my brother, for anyone who's watching, he was talking to me.
Let's make this all about Vass now.
You know what?
Okay.
Yeah, and my brother's a rock star, and he's gonna be famous. No, he is. I'm very proud of him. What I was saying is, he asked me a couple weeks ago if I would consider moving to Atlanta for maybe like 6 months or a year, just to kind of. I was like, I don't know if I want to, because there is something about like there's the business, but then also like creating a life for yourself outside of a career. And I just
Absolutely.
I want to like set down roots, and I'm like, you were one of my first friends here in LA, and you were the first person to invite me out. It's like, you know, I want to like maintain my friendships here, and like, because I've moved so much in my past.
You were the
I just
first
wanna-
person to ever vomit in an Uber that I called for somebody.
At a Shakespeare
At
play.
a Shakespeare
We went to go
festival
see Shakespeare.
at the Hollywood Bowl.
I
I'm like,
puked
where the fuck
everywhere.
did these guys go? Mexico? And like, it's like, we ain't puked.
Yeah, well, we meaning I.
Where did we get called lowlifes?
We got called. Okay, just so everyone can imagine. So, if anyone's been to the Hollywood Bowl, it's like this. You know, there's a stage, and the big. We're in the shitty seats in the very back where they're all stone and like bleachers.
Yeah.
We had this wine bottle. It just fell down and rolled. Clink,
Clink, clink.
clink.
God.
We were them, and we were getting
And the
drunk.
amphitheater just
Is-
projected that.
It was so embarrassing.
And it's in the middle of like Titanus Andromedus, like doing a monologue, and this one's like, "You're a bunch of fucking lowlifes."
Yeah, and I mean, was it? And then we're all just like, well, you're sitting in these cheap ass seats with us. If you want to have the experience, go up there.
We were assholes.
Yeah, I know, but we were having the real Shakespeare experience, because back in the day, they were ignorant, and we were being that. Is that right? I don't
I
know.
have no idea what you're talking
Never
about.
gonna find you.
I'm just saying, Shakespeare was
Those
made for
were the
poor
two guys that
people.
dropped that bottle.
It was made
Yeah,
for
that's
poor
correct,
people
that's
to watch,
correct.
and we were
And we're poor.
them. It's not just for the rich.
Shakespeare. It's not just for the rich.
Now we got another t-shirt.
No,
We
no,
lost
but,
track. We
but no,
definitely
you're
lost
you're
track.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Building a life out here. LA is a great city. What
Mm-hmm.
is cool is we are surrounded by so many talented people. And,
Yeah,
and people,
dancers, musicians, who I get inspired
Everybody.
watching them do their thing.
We had a coworker who was an animator, and he's succeeding, and
Yeah.
it's great when you see somebody who puts their mind to it and doesn't give up.
Yeah,
After like 2 years, they actually put the work in and succeed.
yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing about like the whole movie. Like, 3 years out here? Or I don't know how many years you guys been
They're
out?
13 for me. Shit,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm like 3.5, 4.
Yeah, so why would you go? I mean,
Yeah, because you just give up any. Not that I have huge contacts yet, but
Right.
I'm planting the seeds and making the, you know.
But I mean,
Thanks.
even going to Atlanta for a short period of time, I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Just go there with a goal in mind. I wanna get an agent on the East Coast who can
Mm-hmm.
represent me for these projects, and then fly the fuck back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Though actually, you know what's funny? My agent right now, he's based in San Diego, but he has actors all over the world, and
Yeah.
he just submits them for their area. I should tell him to submit me, like, you know, for the stuff everywhere.
Well, here's another thing you need to take into consideration. Are you a local hire anywhere? And what that means is that if they were to pay for your plane ticket there, do they have to pay for your lodging? If you have someone you can stay with, that's something that you want to put on your resume.
Yeah.
So I went to college in Florida. I have a lot of friends who still live there. I'm a local hire in Florida. Even if they don't pay my plane ticket, shit, I will pay to go down to Tampa, go to an audition, and hang out for a week.
Yeah. You know, that's funny. That's one of the things Vasily was saying. Get a group of people. All of us chip in for an apartment, and when we need to use it in that city, we
It's-
all have a key to
it's
that
very
apartment.
smart.
You know, like if you, me, Dana, Vasily, a couple of his friends, we share like a 2-bedroom or whatever, like a pull-out couch in Atlanta or in Chicago,
Smart.
New York.
Yep.
Then we all, yeah.
You could even like Airbnb it.
That's true. I guess you can. That's technically, yeah. And then hopefully the credits, or like what they pay you to do that show, will cover that. and the credit
Well,
will
that
be
comes
worth
next. That
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
next. You gotta book the fucking role.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Here I am thinking I'm just gonna...
Foolish Juliana rocks.
Naive of me to think I have a chance.
But like I'm not saying that like there is no possibility. I say it coming from a realistic standpoint.
Yeah.
Because honestly, people book stuff. Big breaks happen every single day. Realistically, if you go into it, I think with the mindset of like, look, this is a business. We can all be artists, but this is a business. If you remember that it is, I think that it's going to put you in a better place where we are here to make money.
Yeah.
Like, art is great. Love it. Love art.
But most of what we're doing is not going to be art.
And you know what? That's okay. Going back to student films, what I used to do is I used to call it the monkey suit. You know those little monkeys with the symbols and you wind them up? You do that for your agent, you do that for your manager, you book it, you make some money, but then you find a student film that you really like.
Yeah.
Or you find a short, or you write something that you really like, and you do your art thing. You do one for them, one for you. One for them, go do a play.
Yeah.
Do one for them, do the Hollywood Fringe Festival. I think that's how you find the balance of like, okay, look, you have to be a businessman or woman.
Yeah.
But you also are allowed to be an artist on your own free time.
Two things on that, but that makes me think of is Brie Larson, obviously Captain Marvel, but then she also has that unicorn thing on Netflix that's totally indie and out there, and it's like
she directed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just working on her art while also being a superhero. But the other thing too, if you want to talk about the Fringe Festival, when you told me about it, I thought it was so cool, and I had no idea. I don't know who knows about it, but if you want to tell them.
Oh, the Hollywood Fringe Festival is the greatest acting experience you can have in Los Angeles, especially if you are a theater-based actor. Basically, jump on LA Casting or write something if you want. But
you can make your own.
You make your own. We should do that.
Fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's write something.
Yeah.
And basically, I think it's like June or July and August, they do the Hollywood Fringe Festival, and it's a collection of original theater shows. And it takes place all over the theater district on Santa Monica Boulevard in Hollywood. They do stuff in North Hollywood. It's all over the place. And for like 2 months, every single day there are multiple shows that you can go out and see. And,
it's like a bar hopping theater experience.
Essentially.
You just go to a play, and then you go to another play. You can get a drink if you want, just hang out
walk
with your friends.
out, walk into another one. You can
Go
spend
into theater.
you can spend a month just seeing theater and its original plays.
Yeah.
And they do an award ceremony, but if you're involved with it, what's so fucking cool, it's called office hours. And they pick a bar like every Thursday, and you go with your postcards and you hand them out. You pitch your show, you meet people. If you have like a Fringe Festival pin, your drinks are like half off, whatever that bar is and all that. And it's a fucking wonderful experience. You meet a lot of people.
I'm sure agents and managers who just enjoy theater and want to see who's out there,
Correct.
They go to those.
And, well, not only that, like you can meet a lot of big name people. The guy who produced one of mine was John Wellner from CSI.
Oh, okay.
And his wife or ex-wife, Whitney Wellner, she was on like Stomp the Yard or Save the Last Dance or something. And Ted Danson came to our show.
This was the one I went to?
No. Oh God, the one you went to was a nightmare.
I enjoyed it.
Don't work with pregnant women if they just find out they're pregnant and they're your director and producer, because it's a lot of fun. That was tough. That was tough. And unfortunately, you guys caught the tail end of like a very bad downward spiral.
Okay, didn't you say there was like a big, big casting director who like got there too late and they didn't allow him in?
Because she also wanted to be the producer. She never handled our VIP list. We had to turn away people from
real people in the
from
industry
like CAA. We had to turn away Dan Bell, who's like one of the biggest commercial casting directors in town, and
because they didn't save seats for important people.
And we had a cast. We had a great cast. People had done stuff. Like the show was fundamentally great. And man, oh man, again, I'll never produce again because what she did,
Yeah, it takes a very specific brain to be able to like correctly produce things. You have to be able to not be emotionally attached in probably that way.
It's like you have a ball on a like a t-ball stand. All you have to do is just hit it, and it's like, nah, let's make this difficult. I'm gonna karate kick it. It's like, you fucked this up. Like, all you had to do was just swing, and we had a home run. And it's like, God damn it.
But I guess that's half the thing of building something this career. This project sounds so amazing, and we're gonna do it. And it's like, sometimes you're like, why am I here? Or it's like you had a good experience filming. You're like, I don't know if I like how it turned out, but you're doing it for the fun of it and for the fact that you're hoping it'll turn out to be awesome.
I mean, with film, the final product is completely out of your hands.
Oh yeah, as an actor, they can change. You can go in there with a performance, and then they edit it so that you're completely different than.
Yeah. But I mean, the trick is that you need to work with people who you can rely on, and when something like this happens, and we won't go into specifics, you know who the fuck you are.
Damn.
Yeah, no, it's bad.
Yeah.
You start to learn that this business isn't for everybody, and that honestly, working with professionals goes a long way. Like real professionals, acting with people who are passionate about it, and they don't take things personally, and it's about collaborating.
And there is also something about people who understand that it is a business, and we're all just trying to like work, and like you can't be too stubborn. You can't not be open to different ideas.
Just trying to make a buck.
Yeah.
Make something good. Something at the end of the day you can say, hey, I was in that. Yeah.
Was that one of your final final destination for your career here?
What is my final destination out here?
What are your big
goals?
I'll tell you what. I had a great year last year. Last year I got to do like 4 TV shows, a commercial. I was in the Fringe Festival. I had a fantastic year last year, and I think that you have to set small goals. You're saying, "Oh, I'm gonna win an Oscar." Well, yeah, but you still got to take the steps. So
we're all gonna win an Oscar, but you still got to work.
Baby steps, Dr. Leo Marvin. You know, you need to set small goals. So I think that my goals for this year is I want to book a co-star or 2, maybe even a guest star or something like that. And I'm in a rebranding process where I'm getting new headshots.
That's what I have to do too, and it's money.
Yeah. And
then also, just so you know, I'm going to let you finish your sentence after I'm allowed to talk. But no, it's like I keep wanting to change my look. You know, it's because I just want to be able to like, who am I? Like, dye my hair, but every time I do, I have to get new shots and like new things, and it's frustrating.
Brand yourself, figure out what you want, and then roll with it. Roll with it for a couple of months.
Yeah,
you know.
That's what I did with my red hair, but now I'm not red anymore. I barely.
And then you need new headshots because you have to look very up to date.
Yeah.
It's money. It's fucking money. It's the only career where you could pump like $15,000 into it to make like $20 and be like, yeah!
Oh my God, yes.
I got a fucking Jackson. You know.
Anyway, sorry. So yeah, you need to get new headshots. How
I just got all the footage of all the TV stuff that I did last year.
Was that hard to get?
No. I have like a little website that I can go to. It's super cheap, and they'll send you a digital copy of whatever you worked on.
Cool.
And I'm currently cutting that together. I have enough footage right now to almost completely eliminate all student films from my reel.
Okay.
And I think that's so cool. It's like everything on there is legit.
Student films or short films?
Both.
Both? That's awesome.
Almost every single thing that I have on my reels that I'm cutting is from a television show, from a network broadcast television show or cable or something like that. It's super cool. Rebranding, I'd love to book a co-star or 2. I'm going to start looking into maybe some new representation. As much as I like the people I'm with, I think that I have what I need to go to the next step, and that's. What
does the next step mean? Just like an agent who looks at different quality projects, or
maybe somebody with a little bit more clout. Being with a boutique agency has always worked really well for me. But I'm sick and fucking tired of bartending.
Yeah.
And
that's how I feel about restaurants.
You know, I want to be going out on auditions like 5 times a week and not just like 3 times a month.
Yeah.
So
You know, and what they say is there's the different levels of agencies. There's the ones who are okay taking the new people, and then they're kind of like they're very hesitant to let you go up to the next level because they know you're gonna be able to like book it, but they just want your money. You know.
Correct.
That's what I have heard.
Correct.
And so it's like you have to know when to say I am ready for the next level who doesn't fuck around with anything. They're like.
Well, that's a very accurate observation. Like you have to be ready to go to the next level.
Yeah.
You have
and
to.
they will understand. They're not going to like it from a business place,
Yeah.
but if they were to stop and look at it, they're like, okay, yeah, your career has
not their fucking call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So right now, did we ask if you're working on anything? Are you working on anything?
No.
Currently, I'm working on rebranding myself.
Oh, yes,
but
yeah.
I just performed in a new project. It's super cool. It's on BuzzFeed. It's called Mr. Pickles Goes from Santa Monica to Silver Lake. It's a choose your own adventure.
It's very cool.
It's about a cat who has to pee really bad, so he hijacks a car. And depending on what choices you make, you can either have a good ending or a shitty ending. And I play a hipster who jumps in the car who thinks it's his Uber, and I have like a handlebar mustache and plugs, and it's an amazing project. If you get a chance to check it out, it's on BuzzFeed. Just look up Pickles and Mr. Pickles cat.
Yeah.
And I did just work on another short. I can't say too much about it right now, but if you go to my Instagram page, Jon Gormley, and here's where the little title's gonna come up behind me. That'll be on there, and I've got another with Mike. We've got another project we're working on, and with some pretty talented guys. So
yeah, I heard the table read went really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the actors who we all got for it, and you guys are all phenomenal.
I was kind of like, another short film,
Yeah.
And then I saw all these guys reading, and I was like, holy shit, these guys are good.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be solid.
Yeah.
So.
And by the way, I have nothing but faith in you and your entire career, because you've always been someone. It's like just the charisma is there, and once the fucking opportunity, it's gonna happen. It's just gonna.
This is it. It's just teetering on the edge. It's gonna fall one way or the other.
Yeah.
It's either gonna be massive success or just like total cocaine binge.
Boom.
Like,
That's
true Hollywood story.
This is the real thing in Hollywood.
This is how shit goes
This
down.
is how you survive LA, okay?
These are the options.
Just don't get lost.
It's one or two. Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. As we
You just took it.
I don't wanna.
You have to. Come on. And one more. And one more. Come on. It's wine. It's not a.
This is how I got drunk at Shakespeare.
And.
And we go.
Cut.
But we have to get up and go.
Black.
Oh. An interview.
Yeah, that was fun.
Nice.
Like that little walk out there.
That's what it's come to?
Mm-hmm. We just want anyone on the podcast.
Right. The homeless people.
Yeah.
There's a guy outside with a sign. Gave him a cigarette. Bring him in.
Yeah.
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
That's a guy?
You probably came here to be an actor.
Well,
Tell us your story. Well, took a shit in my hand today. It's not funny. He's homeless.
Oh, yeah.